All right, just a quick report on what's happening around the world, but also what's happening here in the United States of America, especially as it relates to ICE. There's a lot of things that are happening where they haven't let up and they're still going at it. They're in Minnesota, I believe. That's something that people have gotten about. They're out there. It's about 2,000 agents. And this is a big deal because a lot of poor people, people of color, and white people too, a lot of poor white people, they receive social services and they receive support from our federal state dollars, right? So there was this fabricated report by this right winger who went on using false information to report and make it look like everybody, especially Black Somalian immigrants, are on welfare and committing fraud in Minnesota. So just a heads up, this false report set off, the White House, and they unleashed 2,000 agents out there to go after people. I mention this because we as Raza, we as Chicanos need to make sure we stand on the side of immigrants, of the poor, the oppressed, and those that are helpless. And I say that specifically because some of us are better off than others. Others of us are still struggling out there day to day, right? Trying to make it in the system. And so we take services. We take services and use services to get by, to help our kids. The truth should be basically, and I'll do a whole thing on this, is that we should have free health care for all, no matter what. This is the richest country in the world. There's no reason why we should not have support such as childcare, health care, schooling, education, but we don't. We actually charge people for these things, but we take the tax dollars from a lot of the immigrants, right? We take the tax dollars from a lot of the hard working immigrants who are out there busting their butts. And a lot of them, yes, some of them may be undocumented, right? And if they are, guess what? They can't claim that money at the end of the year. There's billions of dollars left on the table by a lot of these people who may be undocumented, who can't report it because to do so, you'd get arrested. And they know that. So it goes unclaimed. The federal government keeps it, the states keep it. As a result, they just get richer off of us, those who work hard. Then there's a lot of us who may not be undocumented, but still work hard, right? Busting our butts, but we use these services. But now, what's happening now with this administration, the right wing administration that's out there doing what they're doing, going after and unleashing ICE agents on people over fraud claims. This is psycho. This is crazy. This is Nazi SS behavior of the 1940s. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up what happened to the Jews. I'll use the Jews as an example where they were rounded up, not just the Jewish people, but anybody who Adolf Hitler considered an enemy of the state, right? Because he wanted to make Germany great again. Go figure that. But the point is they're unleashing agents out there in Minnesota like they did in Los Angeles. Only this time they're going after people because of quote unquote fraud, right? So that's a new move that we've been watching. It's not new to America. It's just new recently. How's that tie on into the events that are happening with Maduro, who was just arrested in Venezuela using that military operation? Well, first and foremost, it's been a practice. They've done this many times, and unfortunately, they've done this on us, the immigrants in the United States of America. Those of us who are working hard, even those you who were born in the United States or became a citizen. You are now a target. It doesn't matter. The Supreme Court has specifically said so. And Justice, I think it's, I forgot, Justice Kavanaugh, one of the judges, specifically stated, how can you tell somebody's undocumented, somebody's illegal in this country? You can usually tell by the type of work they do. What the hell does that mean? You're a farm worker, a dishwasher, you got to be illegal. You can usually, a gardener, right? You can usually tell by the type of language they're speaking, like Spanish or with an accent. Exactly. This is racism straight up. So the justices or the Supreme Court has given Donald Trump basically this green light to go after immigrants. And I say this passionately because what we saw happening to Maduro in Venezuela is what's been happening to a lot of us, where they just go in there playing cowboy with their guns and their heavy weapons, and the backing of the federal government and $50 billion. This is Nazis on steroids going after the poorest and the hardest working people, but now they do it on a worldwide scale. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean you put Maduro or any other man, you put Maduro or any other woman leader on a pedestal. Do not do that, people. Do not ever do that. It's not about the people. It's about what they stand for, the principles that people stand for. That's what it's about. It's not whether you like Maduro or not. It's what did the people of Venezuela, the government of Venezuela, what are they doing that's different from the U.S.? Well, the oil that the U.S. is now stealing from them, taking from them, basically straight up theft. That's what it is. Thuggery, gangsterism, theft on a worldwide level. That used to, the profits used to go to the people there. That's not going to be the case anymore. Shell, you're going to have all these basic giant corporations like Exxon. They're going to go in there. Texaco, they're going to go in there and they're going to take the oil. Those billionaire corporations and billionaires are going to be taking that profit, where when it used to be the other way around. And that's how in Venezuela, for example, they take care of the people through social services. They take these resources and they help pay for the services necessary. They pay for them ahead of time. So people, just like in Cuba and France and other countries where they pay ahead of time, and in England where it's taken care of ahead of time, that way people don't have to worry and get charged an arm and a leg if they go to the hospital. Having said that, Maduro's arrested. He's gone. He's in New York. We'll see what happens with that later. But the people of Venezuela now have to figure out what they're going to do, because if these crazy corporations are going in there taking their oil, it really is coming down to their only type of natural resource that they can use to pay for their social services, such as food, housing, medical, things like that. They're important. Childcare, those type of things are critical even here in the United States of America. Think about how much childcare costs. So if a government like in Venezuela is providing that to their people because they use the profits from oil that is on their land to do so, how the hell can the United States go over there and tell people what to do when here in the United States they're taking away your health care, your services that should have been paid for or should be paid for, at the beginning, like I mentioned, or should be taken care of regardless. And that's happening right now as we speak. Our social services are being cut. Donald Trump is the president is going after all the basic services that should be going to people. He's going after states specifically that did not vote for him. This is a political party, the Republicans, for example, that are allowing this, are leading this, and allowing it to happen. Because at this point, the United States has no Congress, no Congress. The only branch of government, the what's called the legislative branch, who makes law, who is allowed to stop or check the president, is not doing that. They're giving him a green light to do whatever he wants. With that said, don't take your eyes off of what's happening here in the United States of America. ICE is out of control. The president is out of control. And now they're doing it at a worldwide level, whether you like Maduro or not. That man and his government were providing services to the people of Venezuela, social services that are now going to be cut. And a lot of people are actually going to go back to struggling and suffering because they won't have those basic services that they have basically with the support of the natural resources they get from oil, right? The sale of the profits of oil, which are now going to go to the corporations. One last thing. There's a lot of people out there talking about what's happening, and unfortunately, they do not know what they're talking about. Unfortunately, they have not done the homework, and they have definitely not studied up on what the economic systems are with democracy versus, an economic system. Democracy versus, say, communism or socialism, which is something that I've heard a lot on lately since, we've been watching, what's happening with this presidency, right? Unfortunately, some people do not know what they're talking about. So I'll be doing a whole video on that later too, because a lot of us need that basic education. Democracy is not the same as socialism and communism. Those are two different things. One's a governmental way of governing, that's democracy, and the other one's an economic system, how you use resources and spend money and resources, to basically feed your people, a government. So we'll get to that. But as of right now, keep an eye on ICE. He understand that what they did to Maduro was on a worldwide scale. What they've been doing to people in Los Angeles, in Louisiana, in New York, in Chicago, all over Texas, no matter where, they've done it to us, Raza Chicana. And for all my brown berets out there and all my activists, to the Black Panthers we're working with, and the Young Lords, New Era Young Lords, those of you who are out there, all AIM, all the groups out there, they're still active. Mecha, keep in mind, Raza Unida, keep in mind, we got to stay up with what's happening and don't get sidetracked with the propaganda from the media. They're trying to mislead us as well. All that is corporate to begin with, so don't get sidetracked with that. Just understand that we got to deliver the education, got to deliver the information to the people, and that's really what counts, is that we deliver the correct information. Don't mislead them. Like I said, don't mislead them with terms you don't know what you're talking about. Do your research, educate the gente so they know what's happening. Because right now, as Raza, we should be standing on the side of the people of Venezuela. It's never been about drugs. It's about the resources of Venezuela, and what's happening. So with that, I am out.